Christopher Russo Show. Taking a look at the weekend ahead in sports. We've got all your bases covered. Now, your host, the Mad Dog, Christopher Russo.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to have you aboard today on a Saturday morning in New York on Fox Sports Radio Network. Good to have you with us at 877-99 on Fox. That's your two-way sports talk telephone number. Take you to 12 on the national side, 1 o'clock on the local side. Kevin Mooney and our good buddy Mark Malus is across the way as we chat to you about the world of sports, home base, of course, here in the Northeast with the St. John.
Propriety of it. It's interesting you would look at it that way, Christy. It's evident.
Could have just made a picture. Should have put her a dog bowl. Look at that shot of her.
I know,
oh, my
I don't
God.
get it.
Imus in the morning.
It's like, Jack, if you're going to go there, at least,
Come on.
be something fresh and young.
That will be fine, Christy. Yeah, like me, I'm available.
Absolutely.
What am I doing? Sitting typing news.
Come on.
I don't need this. Jack, hello, I'm over here.
We're talking a stole?
Wearing a sandwich board around Jesus, available.
Imus in the morning on the fan, Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Mugginsburg.
Cream of the crop, I rise to the top. I never eat a pig cause a pig is a cop. Or better yet, a Terminator, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Trying to play me out like as if my name was Sega. But I ain't going out like no punk bitch. Get used to one style, yo, when I might switch it up and around. Then buck, get down, put out your head and then you wake up in the dawn of the dead. I'm coming to get ya, I'm coming to get ya. Spitting out lyrics, homie, I with ya. I came to get down, I came to get down. So get out your seat and jump around. Jump around. Jump around. Jump around. Jump up and get down. Jump, jump, jump. Everybody jump. Jump, jump, jump. Everybody jump. Jump, jump, jump. Everybody jump.
K-Rock. Hello? Hi, you're calling
Here's, I don't think you're going to get better.
Oh, you don't?
He's no Tino Martinez or Don Mattingly.
Not going to save you 25 hours a year, then.
No. Oh,
No.
no. Absolutely not.
I'm not going to dig one out of the dirt.
Not many.
Not many.
No. Off his glove. No. In the dirt. Great throw. No.
Oh.
The rich get richer, baby.
That's it. But listen, this is a park made for him, man. This guy, you got to figure he'll be the first guy to hit 50 since Maris and Mantle.
Really?
They haven't had one. You're talking about along 1961.
Sure.
So, also the Yankees signed Cubs left
The
fielder.
question is how long he keeps the current girlfriend. What's the over-under on that?
Christmas or New Year's?
Yeah.
You mean the
Well, he's in New York now.
Temptations of New
He's
York.
in New York.
How are they going to keep him down on the farm?
He's in New York now. Hello, baby. Hello, baby.
Take a number. Here's abortion money. Get lost.
Oh, yeah, man.
Oh, gosh.
I mean, she's...
Alimony suits are coming.
Yeah, she's... I mean, I'm sure she's a lovely girl, but...
Honey, why are you sticking holes in my condoms?
This is not going to last, you know what I'm saying? Go back to Oakland. You know?
Lord.
The Yankees also signed Cub left fielder Rondell White, 296 hitter, but the downside, this guy is injury prone.
Oh, Rondell, well, maybe he'll be motivated to get himself in shape now that he's with the New York Yankees.
Well, he should.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been on the disabled list 7 times in his 9-year career. I mean, that's not good.
No, it's not.
Good pickup.
By the way, the average major league...
You can bring the water out to them then. That's good.
average
At least he's on a disabled list and not his wife.
Oh,
Go ahead, Warner.
That's what a knee
that's
slapper.
average major league salary last year, $2,100,000.
The money.
Which was interesting. I was talking to Hank Aaron yesterday. He was in town.
How low Hank doing?
Good, very good. It was a boys club, girls club affair. And the most he ever made, his last 2 years, $210,000.
Jesus.
Hank Aaron.
How bitter is he?
No, he's not bitter.
He's not like Willie Mays?
No, not at all. And he never had a multiple-year contract. It was always based on what did you do the previous year.
What car dealership does he work for?
Oh, he's
Doing all right.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think Gussie's doing all right. I don't know.
Now, Nuggets coach Dan.
Welcome to the casino.
No.
Come on, Warner. You're being silly now.
Yeah. Nuggets coach Dan Issel has been suspended by the Nuggets.
What did he say?
All right, here's what he said. I'll just bleep one word. He said, "Have another beer, you Mexican piece of..." What was it?
Starts with an S?
Yeah. 4 letters.
Let me see. S-H.
Yeah.
Schmuck?
No,
No,
it's
too many
4 letters.
I.
I
don't know.
That was
I don't
it.
either.
Actually, and then he apologized afterwards.
Start crying, too, right?
Yeah. You want to hear that?
Yeah, I want to hear him crying.
Wanna hear
Yeah,
that?
I want to hear him crying.
Okay, here's Issel after and apologizing to the people.
I'm sorry for the embarrassment that it's caused the team, my family, and me.
And me. 112,000 cost him. Well,
Maybe more.
Yeah.
It ain't over yet.
Say it isn't so.
It's not.
Say it isn't so, man. Here it is. Former Cowboy All-Pro lineman Nate Newton arrested only last month,
Right.
when police found 213 pounds of marijuana in his van, has been arrested again. This time with only 175 pounds of marijuana. Newton was taken into custody last night, again facing charges of possession with intent to deliver.
Well, come on, Nate. Nate, hello.
He's going to be smoking somebody else's joint in the penitentiary.
Anybody in there?
Good. Does anybody? How did the guy ever remember a play? Man, that's stupid.
Check your
Jesus
car,
God.
jeez.
Oh, man.
Nate, come here. Honest to God.
Here's your new van, Mr. Newton.
Gee, maybe he figured he wasn't being watched.
Nate. We need to have a talk.
That is bad.
I was going to celebrate Christmas, but I got high. I was going to celebrate New Year's, too, but I got high.
Unbelievable.
It is.
Now I'm smoking another MH joint, and I know why.
Hello, baby.
Imus in the morning.
Another lending success story from Lending Tree.
Hiding, running cave to cave.
And where we want him is on Broadway.
Scary is Osama, scary is Osama, scary is Osama. Let me say it once again.
Osama on Broadway.
Bloody jihad is the war I love. Bloody jihad is the war I love.
Ben Brantley of the New York Times says Osama on Broadway is the most powerful Broadway experience since The Muslim Man.
The heels are alive with the sound of...
Clive Barnes of the New York Post says, I laughed, I cried, I took cover under my seat. It's even better than Afghani Get Your Gun.
Tora Bora Bora, Tora Bora Bye, Tora Bora Bora. That's an Al-Qaeda lullaby.
It's the toe-tappingest, sing-songiest, heartwarmingest show you'll ever be forced at gunpoint to see.
Gray skies are gonna clear up. Put on a black burnous.
Imus on Broadway presents a Hugh Jemison production with music and lyrics by Delbert McClinton, book by Charles McCord, choreographed by Larry Kenny, and directed by Lou Rufino, starring Bernard McGurk as Mullah Muhammad Omar.
Fish gotta swim, B-52's gotta fly. This virgin's waiting for me the day that I die. Can't help loving that Koran of mine.
Sid Rosenberg as Osama bin Laden.
Whatever Mullah wants, Mullah gets.
And 20-minute Broadway veteran Rob Bartlett as Afghanistan. Osama on Broadway.
Who can take a woman, wrap her in a veil, abduct a bunch of infidels and throw them all in jail? The Taliban, oh, the Taliban can. Osama don't dance and Al-Qaeda don't rock and roll. Osama don't dance and Al-Qaeda don't rock and roll. Don't believe in fooling around, so they always wear a frown on radio. Rock and roll.
We're talking with one of the White House correspondents from NBC News.
Yeah.
In decline. Yeah. David Gregory.
You know that Ahmed Karzai is here today, meeting with the president.
That is a weird little... Looks like you had to be pushing a clothing cart over.
Shut up. Oh, God.
34th Street.
The garment district.
Yeah, please.
And you know what's significant about this?
Too glad you called in, huh?
Continue.
Look at these jackets.
Imus in the morning.
Ahmed Karzai is here, but what's more significant is that he's actually going to be in attendance tomorrow night at the State of the Union.
Is he going to be the little clown sitting next to Laura Bush?
I don't know where he'll be exactly in the box, but I think we can expect that he will be there and stand up and be recognized.
Yeah. The guy's going to lose the... he looks like he's got a beer mug on his head. I mean, come on here.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
Well, if you're a leasing company or bank and require help with your lease and loan defaults or...
Imus in the morning.
What's the best reason to buy a new Nissan in March? Is it that the Nissan...
You were. All right, men. Welcome to today's home front security assessment, which you will find encoded in your briefing books by the letters HW, BW, HF, double T, double S, which stands for... Yes, Private?
Sir, as the private understands it, the designation HWBWHF-double-T-double-S stands for hand-wringing, bed-wetting, home-front, truth-twisting sob sisters, sir.
Exactly. As represented by...
Eleanor Clift, Mark Shields, Patrick Leahy, Anthony Lewis, Frank Rich, and anybody else who doesn't get it that they want to kill us all, sir, and will, if Lewis and Rich and the rest of that pack don't stop eroding our national unity and diminishing our resolve.
Familiar words, Private. Can you tell us who uttered that little phrase?
I can and will, sir. The private chose to illustrate his point about naive, whining, misguided, Constitution-waving zealots by borrowing a phrase from Attorney General John Ashcroft's recent Senate testimony, sir.
Good choice, Private. Attorney General John Wayne Ashcroft, I'd call him. A warrior who, thank God, won't let his resolve be diminished by hysterical newspaper columnists or a platoon of weak-kneed Senate sissies led by Patrick Leahy. And note here, that ain't Patrick Henry Leahy, as in give me liberty or give me death. It's more like Patrick Abdul Leahy, as in give me habeas corpus or give me a turban. Columnists Lewis and Rich, along with Senator Leahy and his ilk, are absolutely wetting themselves, boys, over Mr. Ashcroft's detention of a bunch of flute-toting rug riders, half of whom got into this country by blowing right past some asleep-at-the-switch customs agent, and the other half who got here on some phony-ass expired student visas to basically learn how to play Pin the 747 on the skyscraper. Well, excuse me, you sons of bitches, but to this old soldier, that is unacceptable. Right, Private?
You hit the Muslim on the burnoose, sir.
Pardon me? I said, right, Private?
Yes, sir. And a significant majority of the civilian population appears to agree with you, sir, according to all the polls and stuff.
Damn it, Private. Are you pulling a John Walker on me? Sound off like you had nuts.
Sir, 158% of the public agrees that everybody named Mullah, Cat Stevens, or whatever who's in this country illegally ought to get his towel snapped and have to forfeit his coat.
At the very least. And well said, Private. It must have killed Frank Rich, absolutely killed him, when just 2 days after Frank wrote his latest screeching, howling, wailing, blubbering, besotted anti-Ashcroft literal lacrimosis, Newsweek magazine reported an Al-Qaeda attack most likely targeting the United States Capitol building had been stopped cold, specifically by the Bush administration's towelhead I don't think so detention program. Who was it who once said the Constitution is not a suicide pact? I suggest...
Supreme Court Justice Robert H. Jackson,
right.
Chief Prosecutor, Nuremberg, nominated by Franklin D. Roosevelt, 12 June 41, served with distinction till 9 October 54, replaced by Eisenhower nominee John Marshall Harlan.
Shut the up! As I was saying, lads, based on his performance, it has been suggested we change the title of Ashcroft's office from Attorney General to General Attorney. Thank you for your attention and input, boys. That is all.
Today, we have shut down several financial networks exploited by terrorist groups. Piece by piece, we are dismantling the infrastructure of the terrorist network.
1, 2, 3. Imus in the morning.
Good evening.
midday on the Fan. Jackerman with 2020 Sports on WFAN, flagship station for the Imus in the Morning program, weekdays from 5:30 until 10.
What's the best reason to buy a new Nissan in March?
Mike and the Mad Dog. Sports Radio 66 WFAN. They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can. It's Mike and the Mad Dog on the Fan. Nothing can get by 'em. Turn it on and try 'em. Mike and the Mad Dog,
Good afternoon, everybody. How are you today? The Mike and the Mad Dog Radio program. Nice to have you with us on this Monday, the 18th day of March, the year 2002. Dave the Greca filling in for Mark Malusis today. The magnificent, incomparable, can't replace him, Chris Carlin. As we chat to you about the world of sports, 718-937-6666. The Mike and the Mad Dog crew taking us 6:30. A lot to talk about today. Good afternoon, now, Michael. How are you?
Were you wearing my headset over the weekend? You're the only person I've ever seen who could tangle a headset up this badly.
I got it.
Beat on the front, beat on the front, beat on the front with the baseball bat. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh. Imus in the morning.
Another lending success story from Lending Tree.
One man comes from Nick in Verona, New Jersey. Says, James Carville, integrity? Have you seen his website? Verbose, obnoxious, arrogant, and decadent, or more like it. I've challenged that bald, ugly bastard to a fight. He never responded. If you can get your lips off his bunghole for 2 seconds, making you give him back to me. And while we're at it, I'd be more than willing to give you the ass kicking you deserve, too. Later, buttnut. Nick from Verona.
Bring it on, Nick, you punk. Go ahead.
This comes from Mike in West Milford, New Jersey. He says, man, forget the football scores. I want to hear you predict one thing. That Sid will never appear on this program again.
I mean, I guarantee that.
Nobody wants to hear him. Nobody.
You know, I hear you out. That's enough. I hear you out in the newsroom actually arguing and screaming at fellow employees about the outcome or what you all think is going to be the outcome of these stupid games this weekend.
Yeah. Well, you know, what happens is everybody out there is a maven right now, Everybody's a maven. And
they have a right to be.
Why? Why do they have a right to be?
Why do they not have a right?
What school did you go to?
Why do you have a right? Why do you have a right?
Wait a second. Hold on here a second.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Hey, I know what I'm talking about.
That's exactly right. When I-Man walks out of here at 10 o'clock, who spends the next 3 hours spewing his stuff?
Oh, please.
Whoop-de-damn-do. He
All
can
I'm
string a
saying
sentence
is-
together. It doesn't give you any foresight into what's
I'm
happening.
not saying foresight. I'm not saying I know any more than anybody out
What
there.
are you saying?
All I'm saying is I bring up one point that the Bucks have a chance of beating the Eagles on the road, and Carlin and the rest of these guys jump all over me like I'm a moron or something.
Carlin's an idiot.
Oh, okay.
Have another pizza, Carlin. Don't worry about,
That's kind of mean.
Well, where does what does the guy's weight have to do with his sports
Because
knowledge?
he's a fat head.
Oh, he knows
So
his
what?
stuff.
So he must be dumb then.
He has no clue.
No, he knows his stuff, but he
knows
gets,
nothing.
he gets too carried away. I mean, you hear what goes on out there, man.
Yeah.
It's
Who
ridiculous.
else?
Who else out there bothered me?
Yeah.
Well, Jody Mack's been kind of cool about it today.
He's an idiot.
Scazzeri's been kind of cool. It was pretty much Carlin. Carlin was the one with the big mouth.
Yeah, well.
So.
Yeah, he can't stand you anyway.
Yeah, he hates me anyway. He's very resentful towards me. Francesca told me.
Oh, he is?
Well, you know what happens is there's a bunch of young guys who work here at the place.
Right.
You know, I'm in my 30s. Colin's in his 30s. Mark Malusis, who runs the board for Mike and Chris, he's in his 30s.
Right.
And I guess it all
No,
turns
they're
out.
not.
What do you mean?
Colin
Oh,
and Malusis are in their 20s.
right?
Both of them. Colin's 29.
Okay, and Malusis is like 26, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it turns out that this comes from Mike, by the way, that both of these guys felt like they had the right to do the midday show.
Oh, okay.
So so there's a certain amount of resent right now coming from a lot of the cast of the Mike and the
Right.
Mad Dog show towards Big Sid.
Right.
And I got to deal with that on a daily basis,
Sure.
And I think I deal with it well. I don't cause say anything or. I mean, do you feel that's the case, or you think Mike is exaggerating? Do you think
that Carlin and those guys thought that they were going to get a shot
well,
in the
they're
air?
resentful towards me.
Well, I don't know.
But what do you think? I mean, just basically, because you have that great intuition.
I don't know what's going on. What do you think, Charles?
I have seen no overt signs of resentment.
Colin is an
against Sid.
on-air guy. He aspires to on-air.
What do you think, Bernard?
They've both been on the air, actually.
They've both been on the air, and sure, they don't want to see, some bull-headed moron gambling degenerate get this coveted slot.
Well, I don't get it.
They've been here breaking their butts
Yeah.
for years, you know, getting Mike
And you
Ring things
waltz
or
in.
whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And
Waltz
then you
in.
come in.
5 minutes on the Imus program. Next thing you got your own show.
Sit. Everything sits. Sit does the overnight. Sit does the midday. Sit for Mike Red.
He goes out in the
Sit
newsroom,
with Boomer.
yells.
It's like you go to the same temple as Chernoff, and you get all these great gigs, and they hate it.
How did this moron get in here?
Yeah, they do. They hate you.
They do, right?
Absolutely.
From the sports guys, and he's coming over here?
Hey, give somebody else a shot. Sid's on the overnight. He's on the midday.
Very
He's in
good
the
point.
afternoon. Gee.
Sit. Get him out.
Oh, yeah. Imus in the morning. The best I ever had.
What's the best reason to buy a new Nissan in March? Is it that the Nissan Sentra was new?
Oh, no, you didn't. You're kidding.
And Merle Haggard put his hat on. He said, well, there's money falling out of my hat. Why did you do that?
Well, I looked in the window and I felt sorry for the guy.
You're lucky he didn't punch you in the mouth. What are you, nuts?
You did.
You're about the dumbest bastard I've ever met.
He looks like he had just been singing at Penn Station. So.
It's Merle Haggard, you moron.
I know.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
It was the visual. That got me. I just, hey,
Help a guy out.
See a guy down on his luck like that? I know.
with the guitar and, hey, here you go, bro. If I had a cigarette, I would have thrown that in there, too.
In the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
This is WFAN New York, an Infinity Broadcasting Station. I'm Christy Musumeci. It's 42 degrees in Central Park under partly sunny skies. This report...
Dives for cover. Imus in Washington's continuing special team coverage of the war on terrorism. Here now, the latest developments. First from the front, another escalation in the tempo of the fighting as American pilots flying sorties against northern Taliban troop concentrations incorporated a new tactic into their already intense aerial program, linoleum bombing, said to be even more concentrated than the familiar carpet bombing. At the Pentagon, Rear Admiral John Stufflebeam, Deputy Director, Operations for the Joint Chiefs of Staff, commented, and dive-for-cover microphones were there. Where we used to measure the intensity of explosive potential in terms we called throw weight, we gauge linoleum bombing by a term we call turbine toss, which basically gives us a quantitative representation of the number of Taliban forces destroyed by linoleum bombing based on the number of turbines our recon aircraft can see thrown into the air. Questions?
Jim Mikolashevsky, NBC News, sir. Yes. Could you tell us how many turbines our pilots saw tossed in the latest strike today?
Well, I could, but then I'd have to kill you.
Won't be necessary. Thank you, sir.
On Capitol Hill, Senator Phil Gramm endorsed the intensified bombing tactic, agreeing with increasing sentiments that the Allied effort against terror has not been forceful enough to this point. The Texas senator briefly removed his gas mask to speak to reporters.
Well, this new air operation is fine, but I say we can still do better. In fact, I'm already in communication with the chairman of the Joint Chiefs about the next escalation I'm proposing beyond linoleum bombing. Driveway sealer bombing. Because while we've probably got about as many dead Taliban as we need, we don't have as many dead Taliban as we want. Driveway sealer bombing ought to do.
On the bioterrorism front, health officials at the Centers for Disease Control say they are beginning to wonder whether terrorists may have launched a new and heretofore unknown biological organism targeting top government officials, based on the sudden, mortifying appearance of Attorney General John Ashcroft's hair. General Ashcroft, at a recent press briefing, turned to humor as he bravely attempted to explain away what clearly is a hair catastrophe.
But a lot of things are said about me that aren't totally true. You take Imus, for instance, this morning said I had the most hideous $2 haircut in the history of the world. And I beg to differ. It's a $7 haircut, not a $2 haircut.
As the concern over bioterrorism continues to spread, in Hollywood, notables who could conceivably be targeted are increasingly on edge. Actor Jack Nicholson seemed to reflect the views of a number of entertainers when he announced that he was suspending home delivery of his personal mail. Dive-for-cover microphones were present as Mr. Nicholson issued a general statement to officers of his fan club organization.
All of these germs out there. Let me tell you people something. This whole anthrax deal, not good. So, no more mail, okay? You see that mailbox right there? Never,
ever put another piece of mail in it. Not if a Jack Nicholson fan club is on fire. Not if you have a clothes basket full of stupid, asinine fan mail to deliver, okay? Not if you get invited to Shaquille O'Neal's house because he says he wants to hump you and you're excited. And you want to mail me a letter to tell me about it. I don't care. Even then, don't send a letter to that mailbox. Not for any reason. Do you get me, sweetheart?
Easy come, easy go. Will you let me go? Bismillah. No, we will not let you go. Let him go. Bismillah. We will not let you go. Let him go. Bismillah. We will not let you go. Let me go. We will not let you go. Let me go. We will not let you never let me go. Oh, mamma mia, mamma mia. Mamma mia, let me go. Beelzebub has the devil put aside for me. For me. For me. Imus in the morning.
What you doing, Grandpa?
Look, Angie Harmon is gorgeous. I mean, she is just special to look at.
Right.
Yeah.
What would you expect him to marry? Sandra Bernhard?
No, he's a good-looking guy, Jason
Right.
Sehorn, too, and he's making $10 million, but she's breathtaking.
Right.
I couldn't get her off my mind all night last night. All night last night.
Right.
And all morning
What'd
this
you do
morning.
about it?
You are such a... You make me sick, you're such a pig.
Why? What's that?
I don't know, you're just a pig.
Oh, you know what I found out? This is also great stuff. I found out that now I know why you mentioned Ty Murray last week.
Right.
Ty Murray is married to Jewel, right? When you had the whole Jewel
Well,
Sting conversation?
I don't know if he's married to her or
But
not.
they're together, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why you had the whole Jewel conversation last
Yeah.
week. I found it out yesterday. I was all excited about it.
Uh-huh.
You're not really going to bring on a guy later on today and talk about calf roping, are you?
Yeah.
Just an awful programming mistake. I mean, just terrible. And you're calling Chernoff and Lee Davis idiots, and you're bringing on a guy to talk about calf roping?
Yeah.
I'm a fan. How about tomorrow we do, like, review of the old hee-haws?
Well, why don't we talk about
Roberto Alomar.
Roberto Alomar.
Oh, what a great trade. Isn't that a great trade? That's one of the great trades in the history of the Met organization. Great trade.
This is a guy spit on an empire, man. This is
Well,
sickening.
And then malign the guy
what?
because his son had just died or something like
Yeah.
that.
Well, no, he didn't actually malign
Oh,
the guy.
yeah.
No, he didn't really malign the guy. I mean, he spit on the guy because, to be quite frank, I hate to say this, the guy deserved it.
The guy deserved to be spitted on?
Oh, yes, he did. You know,
He was a punk.
he's a lousy umpire, and, you know, sometimes these umpires think they're the game when they're not. It's about the ball players, and to get up in Alomar's face, you know. I'm not saying you should spit on the guy, but he got a little excited. It was the heat of the moment. It wasn't, like, premeditated like O.J. He didn't stand outside home plate with 2 gloves on and a limo driver outside waiting to fly to Chicago. He just happened to spit in the guy's face. It was an
No
accident.
excuse for that. No excuse whatsoever.
For what?
You know, you are just
filthy lowlife.
you really are a low
I
life.
spit it up by his face, too, when I played ball once. True story. Spit right in his face.
Oh, hold me up.
Hot the lube right there.
Gee whiz.
Really?
What a surprise.
Did it twice in one game, by the way. Twice in one game.
You.
These umpires deserve it. I hate to say it, man. You know, it actually, sometimes people think it kind of degrades a human being to be spit in the face, which I guess to a certain extent is true. But in this case, I got to back Roberto Alomar. I'm on his side.
Well, you're a fool.
I think he's a tremendous...
You're an idiot.
Why? What's
You're
the
an
problem?
idiot. You're not. You're beyond an idiot. You're just a pig.
If you were playing ball, man, an umpire got up in your face and started cursing you out and saying belittling things about you and your family.
I don't think he did that.
Hey, look, smack him, hit him, punch him, kick him.
Do
whatever.
anything.
Don't spit in his face.
Choke him.
How do you know he just wasn't talking? Like I talk sometimes and spit comes onto the microphone.
Oh,
right?
please.
Does
He
that
huffed
happen?
a loo,
come on.
He did. Did you actually hear him go?
Yes, we did.
No,
Yes.
there was
Of
no
course
way.
you did.
Come on, you guys are being too tough on the
It's
guy.
on tape. Oh, you are
What's
just
on tape?
God, are you a pig?
Hirschbeck was asking for it.
Oh my! Oh,
He
you
was
are
just asking for it.
You are just an
Can't wait to
idiot.
see instant messages now.
Oh my God! God Almighty! What
Great acquisition.
You are
Appreciating
just
yourself with the audience.
Jesus God!
Get him off the air. I can't stand it anymore. I've spit in people's face.
I got to get rid of you. I have no choice.
Why?
Because you're making me sick.
What's
gotta happen.
all I'm saying is it may have,
plus you're an idiot.
it may have been an accident. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm not condoning spitting in somebody's face. I'm saying when people talk fast, sometimes spit comes out of their
You're
mouth.
not ready to. You're not ready to be on a national show anyway. You're still. You have a local mentality.
What's that?
You're not. You don't have a. You don't have a view of the entire country. You don't.
Why? Because
you know what's going on.
No worldview.
You have no worldview. You have
get
know what's
that.
going on outside of.
Come on, calf roping.
Why? Because I'm not having Ty Murray on my show at 11 o'clock today?
I'll tell you something else. OJ was right.
Oh, I'm not saying that, but certainly I would never compare what Alomar did to what O.J. did. O.J. killed 2 people and was premeditated.
Yeah, but if he could still run the way he did back then, you'd take him on the Giants in a heartbeat.
The Jets wanted him.
The Jets wanted him. Hey, it was a long time ago.
You know, maybe it was an accident.
Listen,
You know, she was sleeping with the white guy, right?
You got to win games, guys. You got to win
got
games.
a running back in New York.
Lord. Nobody was going crazy on LT either when he was partying up a storm because he was sacking the quarterback, right? Right or wrong? It's all about winning games.
Well, LT didn't kill anybody.
No, he didn't. But you know,
He didn't spit in anybody's
No, I'm not saying he did that either. And I'm a big fan of LT. Did more blow than Scarface in all 3 movies combined. But nobody was busting his chops when he was sacking quarterbacks on Sundays.
Why should
That's what it all comes down to.
What was the point?
He did most of it after his career was over anyway.
Right.
No, he did some while he was playing.
That's a weak point.
That was the rumor, at least. I don't know that for a fact. Why is that a weak point?
Because it's not valid. He was doing it after his career.
Well, you don't know that. What happens if he did it on Sundays before he played?
He didn't do anything while he was playing.
Oh, you guys. What happens if you find out? What if you find out that Jack Beaver was a little high before he rode that bull on last Sunday?
Joe Beaver.
Yeah, you're just going to give him a pass because he's one of the great calf ropers
A little
of all
high
time?
is different from assaulting somebody.
Not just calf roper, all-around cowboy.
Well, maybe this. How do you? If you found out right now that, God forbid, Jimmy Beavers did an 8-ball before the game on Sunday, would you all of a sudden not bring him on later on this afternoon? Imus talks about this guy like he's the greatest athlete of the 20th century. Forget about Michael Jordan. Forget about Wayne Gretzky. This show's all about Jimmy Beaver.
Joe Beaver.
Yeah, him.
I'm a fan.
Cause the boys in the hood are always hard. Come talking that trash and we'll pull your card. Knowing nothing in life but to be legit. Don't quote me, boy, I ain't said shit. Punk ass tripping in the dead of night. Homie scored a key, he's gonna fly. Punk ass fly. Imus in the morning.
Long time, no time, or something.
Yeah, first time, long time.
First time, long time. What does that mean?
First time you've called in a long time.
No, first time caller, long time listener.
Oh, okay. So we don't even know.
So I don't even know.
No.
It makes no sense. Who cares?
Okay, what do you
Fine,
got?
you're a listener.
I guess it could be construed as either.
Hey, Jimmy in the car phone. On the fan.
On the fan. Oh, I love the show, you guys.
Love the show. First time, long time, Mike.
Now, Ricky Henderson, why just get rid of him? I mean, what?
Let me tell you about Ricky Henderson, Jimmy. He's not going anywhere. Mets are going to keep him. You were right about that, Mike.
On the fan.
On the fan, back after this.
On the fan.
On the fan.
It's absolutely. Do you have an example? Have Craig give me an example of it.
Right away.
Go get a Jeep. On the fan.
What time did I hear this yesterday?
Well, you can find it anytime.
No, you can find it anytime. What time? Anytime.
Just put it in the tape.
Now, the all-night guy we have here at the radio station, his name is Joe Benigno, and sometimes when I get here, he's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
And I see him walking across the street. Of course, it's dark. It's 5:30 in the morning here in New York. And the guy looks dangerous. He's the kind of guy who you will cross the street if you see him. You know?
Oh, sure. Go to the opposing sidewalk.
Psycho.
Absolutely.
A total, absolute psychopath.
Because he comes along, his head down, kind of, and sometimes he's mumbling to himself, sort of. You don't. That's not the person you want to see at 5 o'clock in the morning walking towards you.
And he is so you know, we had him do sports one morning until I actually looked in his eyes and realized, because we thought it was going to be amusing. It wasn't. It was troubling.
It was tension-ridden.
Yes.
Yeah, it was.
Because the guy is an absolute psychopath.
Yeah.
He's a very nice guy, and I actually like him. And he's very knowledgeable, but he is so absolutely exercised and distraught over this nitwit football player, Keyshawn Johnson, who is at best an average football player. Listen, we're not talking about Jerry Rice here. We're talking about a guy he's an okay football. He's better than average, but that's about it. There's nothing else to say about him.
Give me the ball.
A loudmouth. And certainly not going to have the impact on a football team as, say, somebody like Lawrence Taylor.
Right. On the fan.
Well, now the Jets have traded him to Tampa Bay for a couple of first-round draft picks, the 13th and 27th pick, I believe. Well, by the time you get to the 27th pick, I mean,
well, you got handicapped people.
Yeah, you're not going to wind up crying out loud. You're not going to wind up with Dick Butkus
or LT
or Ricky Williams.
No.
Well, you probably would wind up with Ricky Williams. So I don't know. Anyway,
but he's exercising.
Oh God Almighty!
He's angry at Parcells. Very angry.
And blaming the fat coach.
Yeah, the Emperor. He's calling him.
And the football player is a sniveling, gutless weasel. You sign these contracts, these players, and then they sign a contract, and for a 6-year contract this guy signed. And implicit in signing that contract is that you will attempt to do as best you can do.
Well, yeah, those are the conditions.
Yeah. So what they do then is, if they do better than if they just do well, then they want to renegotiate their deal.
Yeah, it's just if they live up to the terms of the contract, then they want to renegotiate the contract.
So the Jets, well, of course they're going to get rid of the guy. You don't want a guy like that on your team.
Get out.
Whose word is not any good.
Yeah, he got really punished.
So now he goes to Tampa Bay. He's getting more money than he asked for.
Asked for here.
Get more money he asked for here.
Yeah, that'll learn him.
and a $13 million signing bonus.
Man. Benigno makes the point that Parcells had a 5-year contract with the Patriots, and he left with 1 year left to go on his deal. So how can he kill Keyshawn?
Well, none of these people are honorable people who do that. So, you sign these deals, and unless they want to tear them up. I think I had one time. I think when they bought this, I think they did, but it was their idea to tear it up and do a new one, not mine. I was happy with what, even if I wasn't happy. What difference it made?
Yeah,
you signed it. I was happy when I signed it.
The deal.
I'm happy now. I mean, come on. Anyway, well, we have a lot of issues to cover here, and now I've got myself in such a foul mood over all of this.
On the fan.
Players on the fan. Is Craig looking for that stuff?
Yeah.
People got to hear this. I mean, I know it sounds like we're just, but I mean, it's beyond
maddening. On the fan.
On the fan.
It would be different, if they said, "Hi, I'm Mike Francesa on the fan," but that's they don't do.
No, it occurs where it wouldn't follow. It just, I don't know.
It's just jarring. You don't know what they're even thinking about. Well, they're not thinking. Now, Francesa, is he going to be on here this morning?
We're going to effort Mr. Francesa.
Okay.
Trying to find Parcells'
phone
home
impossible
phone
to get a hold of, by the way. And the guy's my friend, and I can't get have his phone number. So,
not help.
His partner, he bought his partner, Russo, Mad Dog.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing this show for 10 or 11 years together. And there have been times when they wouldn't speak to each other, other times when they were screaming at each other.
Yeah, it's an animosity. Yeah.
But then, in celebration of their 10-year anniversary, Francesa bought Russo 2 first-class airplane tickets to San Francisco.
Yep.
A suite at the Palace Hotel in San Francisco. Mm-hmm. And 2 tickets to last night's or yesterday afternoon's, whatever it was, game at the new stadium.
Yep.
Which are almost impossible to get for Russo and his wife.
Pretty nice.
And what did Russo get him for? Nothing.
Zip?
Nothing.
Wow.
So he was obviously mortified when Mike presented him with all this stuff.
This huge package, good Lord.
So then for Christmas, Russo bought him a Rolex watch, which Francesa won't wear, or doesn't wear.
Why not?
Well, Charles said last night, I told Charles about this last night, and Charles says, why is his wrist so fat that he can't get it on? And I bought Charles a Rolex one time for his birthday or something?
Yeah.
Whatever, Christmas or something
like that.
And then you get a bunch of extra links with them, and they make them fit, So I think this is a Rolex.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous watches, by the way.
You need an anchor chain to get around.
Yeah, they're
Francesa's situation.
Wears it around his thumb.
Where's it? Thumb ring?
Well, that was Charles when I thought it was unnecessary, even in a private phone conversation,
awful.
to go to the fat wrist deal with, I just didn't get it.
Call 1-800-829-BEAR or shop online at VermontTeddyBear.com. 1-800-829-BEAR, Vermont Teddy Bear. On the bed.
I ain't looking to block you up, shock or knock or lock you up. I ain't looking for you to feel like me, see like me, or be like me. All I really want to do is, baby, be friends with you. Imus in the morning.
Remember those math... Men, I have troubling news of developments that I fear further jeopardize our already shaken national security interests.
President's gotten fricasseed again, sir?
The president's gotten... Excuse me, Private?
I said, sir, has the president gotten himself, in the grip of the grape again?
That's classified information, soldier. Clearly, in addition to our other problem...
Drunk president.
We've also got a security breach. We're going to have to lock down all of our information access and distribution points, and...
It's in the paper, sir. TV and everything.
Oh, well, never mind. However, that fact does nothing to mitigate the regrettable circumstances at the very top of our chain of command.
President got bitched, didn't he, sir?
The man who has so skillfully prosecuted our war on terrorism has suffered a slip in the conduct of his personal journey.
The boy's gone back to murdering brain cells again, ain't he, sir?
Well, yes. Hate to admit it, he doesn't. No. But this past weekend, while at the White House watching an NFL playoff game, Commander-in-Chief Bush sustained facial injuries when, evidence indicates, he got lubricated and fell over harder than Waylon Jennings in a three-legged sack race.
Well, wasn't the official story that he'd gagged on a pretzel chunk and passed out and fell on his face?
Yes.
And that's the reason it looked like Suge Knight slapped him with a waffle iron?
It was. But hell, boys, that's the same kind of thing Ulysses S. Grant used to say. And General John Donald Imus. Private, do you have the official statement from Commander-in-Chief Bush?
Racked and ready, sir.
Very well. Ready? Initiate playback.
Yes, sir.
My mother always said, when you're eating pretzels, chew before you swallow. Listen to your mother. I feel great. Looking forward to a good trip. I hit the deck. Woke up and there was Barney and Spot showing a lot of concern. I didn't realize what happened until I looked in the mirror. My glasses cut my side of my face. I feel great.
God almighty, he's still mutilated.
Did the boy say chew and swaller?
Mm-hmm.
Which administration is this, sir?
Legitimate question, Private. Well, whatever. How are we to categorize the official White House president in the prone position, explanation, and account?
If the private might be permitted a personal observation, sir.
He may.
About a 4 truckload of bull, sir, gagged on a pretzel chunk will now be relegated to the annals of the dog ate my homework, Ken Lay saying, trust me, here comes Peter Cottontail, and I didn't inhale or have that woman inhale me. Our ass is cooked, sir.
Sad, but I'm afraid quite accurate, lads. 2 new FDA warning labels the Army proposes be added immediately to all beer containers, particularly those available in the White House. Would you read these for the troops, Private?
Yes, sir. Number 1 says, warning, the consumption of alcohol is the leading cause of inexplicable rug burns on your puss.
Right.
And number 2, the consumption of alcohol may make you think you have mystical Central Asian kung fu powers, resulting in your getting your butt kicked.
Couldn't have put it better myself. Thank you for your attention, men. That is all.
Please help me, I'm falling in love with you. Close the door to temptation. Don't let me walk through. Turn away from me, darling. I'm begging you to. Please help me, I'm falling in love with you. Imus in the morning.
Did you know that laser vision correction is not performed with just a laser? And that a surgical steel blade is also used during the procedure? Well, unless you're a patient of the LASIK leader, Dr. Joseph Della Russo, then see the Della Russo program, the former president of the United States, Bill Clinton.
My fellow Americans, one of the things that had always troubled me during my 8-year tenure as your president was what I would leave behind once I left office. I was concerned about how history would treat the Clinton administration. But now, in light of the cover-ups involving everything from the Enron debacle to the president's mysterious fainting spell, I am happy to say that my legacy is indeed alive and well and living in the Bush White House. First, the Enron deal. Influence peddling, shredded documents, missing records. They're so familiar, they're almost nostalgic. In fact, it's deja vu all over again. It's going to be fun to see the congressional hearings, federal investigations, and special prosecutors. There'll be a lot of raincoats over a lot of heads in the days to come. Makes me so excited I almost need a raincoat myself for my lap. But this latest incident is particularly sweet. The president apparently suffered a brief fainting spell, which caused him to fall over, resulting in his suffering some facial abrasions, which wouldn't normally be news, especially when the words George Bush Jr. and consciousness have never been mutually exclusive terms. But the story his PR people are spinning is he choked on a pretzel while watching the NFL playoffs. Why, that's such a load of I can't believe I never used that one my own damn self. Remember when I showed up with a couple of bumps and bruises on my mug during my 2 terms? Everybody knew it was because my bitch of a wife was playing shuffleboard on my face with an ashtray, but yet I insisted I had cut myself shaving. Choked on a pretzel, lost consciousness, and then fell onto the floor. They say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. I'm touched. Although I must admit, I might have had a problem floating that story, because eating has never been a problem for me, except when it came to interns in the Oval Office, who, as I recall, had their own choking problems on something that was kind of bent like a pretzel, but I digress. I just hope that the president will face up to the allegations with the same kind of fortitude and veracity that I displayed whenever I was accused of something. Look right into the camera and say, I did not have sexual relations with that pretzel. I tried it, I liked it, but I probably shouldn't have inhaled. Besides, it all depends on what your definition of the word consciousness is.
Walking bird dog. Just a walking bird dog. If you don't know how to do it, show you how to walk bird dog. Come on now, come on, come on. Imus in the morning.
Visit. She's doing a report. You pick up the phone and call your wife.
No. We don't need to talk about this on the air.
And he goes, Charles, did you hear this?
No.
Hey,
Kiki. No, I did not. That's not what I said. You're lying.
You're an old homo. I sit here and hear it daily for about 4 or 5 times every time he calls.
You're lying.
Embarrassing.
I like to talk to her. I love my wife.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
She's wonderful, but come on.
I am a man.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Call her up
Baby.
to tell her what you want for lunch when you get home, for crying out loud.
Absolutely.
Well, I can do that.
No, you
Oh,
can't.
yeah, you could, but you don't.
If your radio light sucks in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
Hello?
Honey,
Yes?
it's your husband.
Hi, honey.
I'll have a hamburger when I get home.
Oh, yeah, right.
I'll have a hamburger, a couple hamburgers well done, and some melted cheese on it, and a beer, okay?
What are you drinking again?
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN.
This is WFAN New York and Infinity Broadcasting Station. I'm Christy Musamechi. It's
Headline issues of the day. I'm in Washington senior political analyst, the late Richard M. Nixon.
And today, a special report, Horn Dog Dirtbag Update, our continuing series tracking the troubled post-presidency of William Jefferson Clinton. Imus in the morning. So, let me see if I have this right. Denise Rich, Society Slut Sow, was a guest, at the Clinton White House 100 times. All we're left to figure out then is who's the whore. Her for letting him shag her every 5 minutes, or him for taking the big bucks from her. I can't sort out the quid from, no pun intended necessarily, the pro. Honest to God, I'm at. What is next with these two? Bubber and that bovine feed sack of a woman he's ostensibly married to. I mean, what is left? That he's Autumn Jackson's father? That she's a Russian double agent? You've seen her lately, Hillary. She looks like she's disguising herself as the $1-an-hour attendant in a laundromat in Moravia. God. Oh, by the way, slight digression along the same lines. Personal note to Denise Rich. Denise, honey, stop letting them shoot you in profile. Have you caught that, J.D.? She's got a hairline that's receding faster than the Clinton economy. She's got Paula Corbin-Jones' former nose hanging off her. She insists on this swept-back do that only emphasizes her 5-story forehead, so that the whole effect, viewed from the side, makes her look like she's about to drip poisonous venom on Ripley in Alien 2. I mean, if Clinton said to her during any of those 100 White House visits, "Whip some skull on me, bitch," which we know he well could have, her only possible response would have been, "Mr. President, clearly I can do nothing else. Jesus, what a beast." But anyway, as I said, I digress, and rather dramatically. To return to point, I do. What next with our twin Arkansas, Hollywood whoring, furniture filching, pardon purveying pigs? Well, now we learn from Dick Morris, slut-seeking missile in his own right, that Bill and Hill didn't even leave anything on the walls, I guess. Also included in the rape of the presidential residence as they blew the place, as they departed, were 70 works of art that had constituted the first permanent White House American Crafts collection. Permanent, did I say? Foolish me. Permanent until the Clintons got their fat-ass, money-grubbing, everybody owes me a freebie hands on it. No, J.D., the first permanent White House American Crafts collection will now reside, it appears, in the Clinton Library in Little Rock, Arkansas, with its associated 5,000 square foot Clinton penthouse apartment. And just what do you suppose that's for, huh? There'll be more body fluids flying around that place than there were in Daryl Dawkins' Lovetron, for crying out loud. Oh, and speaking of fluids, I do, as we head for the barn here, what has the other Clinton brother been up to? Rock star Roger. Great, eh? Pardoned by the big guy on his 1985 cocaine bust. Then 15 minutes later, gets nailed for operating a motor vehicle like he was a test pilot for Jack Daniels. And now Newsweek magazine, nosy bastards, has the gall to report that the FBI has been looking into allegations that old Raj, ever the entrepreneur, was trying to sell pardons by arranging access to Big Brother. Jesus, I never even thought of that. Great scam. Great scam. I mean, think about the figure Mark Rich must have paid. Who knows? But you can bet it was sufficient to satisfy any number of Bill Clinton's post-White House extravagances, including, but certainly not limited to, a lifetime supply of illegal Cuban cigars and a bimbo surgically attached to his pecker. Ouch! Horn Dog Dirtbag Update number 1. The old Dick Scope today, Dono. More to follow, as compiled by Dick Nixon, himself a rather troubled president of these very same United States.
We have Loy and Nickel and Chrissy Yamaguchi. What is it? Metamushu.
Musamechi.
Whatever.
Two of the women who work on our program. Charles, I want to inform you both that we have a new dress code here on the program.
What would that be?
Plus you're marrying this Yusef Habib.
She may already be familiar with it.
So you may be familiar with this. We want you and Christy to give these burqa deals.
Well, only if you get them too.
Well, why the
No. We're the men.
We're the men's and all.
So?
We're the men.
Yeah, but let's cover up the ugly people. Why make
I'll put a
Christy?
bag over your head, then you bald-headed
Why make the
stooge.
girls wear it?
Exactly.
All right, well then, never mind.
How about just big cowboy hats?
Okay, that's better. That's a very good idea.
You know these two girls, they hate each other?
Really?
Why would you say
Christy
that?
and Lori?
I think he's projecting because he hates Lou.
They hate each other.
They do?
Really?
We
Yes.
do
Why?
not.
I don't know.
Do they? Do you guys?
No.
Really?
How do you know? How does it manifest
because
itself?
Christy,
Well, one way is they don't speak to each other.
because Christy
we're
goes out.
busy. Like any of us chat a lot in the morning.
Because Christy goes out in Manhattan in bars and screams at people all night.
Not.
Right.
And
Shakes her booty. And,
right.
Yeah.
And Lori is home.
Excuse me?
Lori is home staring at the sun and licking crystals.
Yeah, playing Ouija board.
Yeah,
Lori,
with a Ouija board.
Lori, I think they like fantasize about us when we're not here.
That must be it. I think
Lori's
that's
bound
totally
toward
it.
Mecca and, tooting the horn.
We're gonna
You
send
guys don't get
to
along?
Mecca.
Yes, we get along.
No, come on.
We don't.
Well,
fight
why
much.
did Lou? Do they?
They get along. Sure, they get along.
Christy, will you be attending Lori's wedding?
Yeah.
No, I wasn't invited.
Christy wasn't
Not to
invited to
put
your
on the spot.
wedding?
I didn't invite everybody from the station.
Well, why would you invite Christy?
Well, I've only invited people I've known for a really long time.
Only
Oh,
people
that
she
is-
likes.
There you go.
I don't want nobody's kiss if it's not from Imus in the morning.
Imagine having 100 digital radio. Undisclosed secure location is the senior senator from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the Honorable Edward Moore Kennedy.
Hello, this is Ted Kennedy. I have purchased this time to be with you briefly this morning to talk for a moment about the challenges facing the... Jesus, mother of... What was that? Do we evacuate? Should I drink up? Can I get an answer out of somebody?
Sorry, sir. I dropped the Shivers bottle.
My God. Can I apply for disaster relief?
I don't think so, sir. Better just try to get on with your normal life.
This is my normal life. Oh, well, I'll just let this terrible loss serve as an illustration, yes, as I was saying, of challenges at this time of unprecedented uncertainty. Now, as most of you know, throughout my life of public service, I have routinely been pretty much of a sissified, bedwetting, leftist mama's boy panty waist on matters of national defense, security, preparedness, safekeeping, vigilance, alertness, caution, resolve, manliness, and anything else requiring a jockstrap. No longer. Yes, even Ted Kennedy now understands the dimensions of the threat that radical Islamists pose to the survival of our democracy. If I get it, one would think that anybody could get it. Regrettably, such is not the case. Opinion polls suggest there are already those among us who are going wobbly. Already the angst-ridden reservations of our professional hand-wringers appear to be taking root in the national press. Already, I need another drink. Do you think maybe a senator at risk could get another drink over here? Ponderous. Just cover the ice. Thank you. Where was I?
The doubts thing.
Oh, yes. Certain people who shall go nameless, Pete Hamill, are whining like TV reality show contestants about our approach to the catastrophe recently visited upon our nation. The response of Ted Kennedy may come as a shock to the caterwauling crowd. Shut up. Let me state this as unambiguously as I know how. I do not now, nor have I ever, had a desire to wear a turban on my head. Not even in my wildest, most off-the-hook nights of blotto, faced, sling the babe over the bar partying with my colleague, Senator Chris Dodd. Toga, yes. Turban, no. Further, I do not like my women looking like escapees from advertisements for Fruit of the Loom parachutes. And I feel I would find equally offensive being marched naked to a soccer stadium to be skinned alive for practicing Catholicism. Tacky at best. And so, let the word go forth from this time and place to my liberal colleagues and friends suddenly exhibiting their Taliban tilt. It is my fervent wish that either you come to your senses and understand what's at stake here, or that you wind up on a Trenton, New Jersey Publishers Clearinghouse sweepstakes mailing list and then perhaps realize what's at stake here. Until that time, I join with our president in urging you to live your lives as normally as possible. Be vigilant, but not morose. Sensitive to your surroundings, but calm. Heedful of airports, train depots, tunnels, bridges. Your antenna alert and watchful.
Bridges, Senator?
Indeed. Bridges and other installations of our transportation infrastructure. Oh, you mother...
The mess we're in, I'm in my basement, taking all my medicine. Mama says it's mail for me, special delivery. Can someone from poison control open it for me? Look out, boy, bioterror's been deployed. Little unorthodox to go to your letterbox and find in your phone bills a small case of smallpox. Opening an envelope's like opening up a Pandora's box. Better stockpile some Cipro in your safety deposit box. Everyone in Congress need a cold compress, saying there's been progress, but then they call a recess, go back to normal, they declare. Don't you worry, we're prepared, and then go running home like a bunch of homos, afraid to scared. Majority whip, what's that rash on your lip? They're having palpitations down at the postal stations, look for contaminations and all communications. Paper masks, rubber gloves, and anthrax vaccinations, like a postal worker needs another reason to be on medication. Osama's a cave dweller, I'm hiding in my cellar, cause Bubba got a scare package filled with salmonella. Virulent fan mail, guess it's good he don't inhale. Who's next? Dan Quayle, this is just beyond the pale. Look out, kid, don't you flip your lid. Just cause you got a dose, man, don't mean that you're toast, man. Don't give up hope or you'll give up the ghost. You're better up than most, man. The White House tested their dogs before they did their postman. By some Laura Bush, turn off your damn TV. You want a revolution? There's no substitution. Firm resolution is the only solution. Ain't no denial, this is gonna take a while. War is hell, ain't no breathing spell. To bake a cake, you gotta break a few eggs, not walk on eggshells. Change the way you communicate to something else. Send your Christmas list to Santa through AOL.
Are you handy around the kitchen, Yvonne?
Oh, I think I am.
What kind of dishes do you like to prepare?
Oh, I love to prepare tacos, enchiladas, tamales, frijoles. They're wonderful.
What is tacos?
Oh, tacos is a delicious tortilla that you put lots of beans and olives, meat, and you fold it and you eat it. Oh, it's wonderful.
Your husband is a lucky man to have someone who can prepare all those tasty Mexican dishes. What is his favorite dish?
Sauerbraten.
Imus in the morning.
Well, there's one thing that makes Anderson Windows even better, and that's buying them at Riverhead Building Supply. Anderson. So, good morning to Mr. Russo.
I know you got Tiki Barber in there today. You asked Tiki about that great Super Bowl that he played against the Ravens?
Well, no, we haven't.
How do you not ask him that?
Well, what's there to ask him? They lost.
20 carries, 10 yards. I mean, Tiki, how about it?
Well, here he is. Why don't you ask him?
I sure will.
Excuse me, Russo, what are you talking about?
Tiki, you're the greatest running back in the history of football. How you doing
That's
today?
what I thought I heard.
If your radio sounds funny in the morning, you're listening to Imus in the morning.
They're only 9-7 under Coach Gary Williams.
So, Tiki doing a little research.
Hey.
I wish he had examined that Ravens defense as well as he
This is ugly. Oh, my God.
Well, yeah, but Tiki just said they're never going to pass the third round.
Oh, come on now.
Because what does he know?
35-7, that's what I know.
Imus in the morning. Sports Radio 66, WFAN. The best I ever.
What's the best reason to buy a new Nissan in March? Is it that the Nissan
By-play of what they're doing. They're strapping in his leg now. Now they got the other leg. You don't even... I thought you'd hear something like being under high-tension wires or something.
Oh, you mean like this?
Yeah, that's good.
Is that what you had in mind?
Yeah, I was hoping for something like that.
Imus in the morning, 2020 sports. Let's go to the audio tape.
Indiana wants me. Lord, I can't go back there.
And they won't. Indiana wanted me, and the Sixers got me. The Pacers done in 4. Good morning, this is John Minka with sports.
Lose the music stuff. It's lame.
You don't like the musical
No,
stuff?
it's stupid. And it's always stupid when you do it. It's always stupid. Isn't it, Lou?
No, I don't think it's always stupid.
Is it often stupid?
I don't. I think it adds a little bit to the theme.
Help me pound Minko a little bit.
Really good. Lord, what is that? It's always stupid. Isn't it, Lou?
I need some support
I mean, what
here.
the hell is that? Why do you do that?
I don't know.
It's not...
It sucks.
What has
Minko
happened to you?
It's always stupid. Don't you think, Lou?
Right, Charles?
God almighty.
Chuck, help me.
I can't because he does it to me all the time.
I know.
Jeez, and it's hideous.
What's hideous?
You.
That's a weasel deal by Rob, isn't it, Chuck?
Boy, no kidding. Don't you think?
Then you gotta see Rob when he comes in.
Even Charles agrees with me. You were hideous.
Oh,
What
God
has happened to you in the last hour?
I don't know.
In the last 60 minutes?
last hour.
This is the last 60 minutes.
Years.
Good Lord. The last 60 years, for God's sake.
65.
What an a-hole you are, Bernie.
Don't you think, Chuck?
Yeah, right.
Right, Minko?
Big time, right, Mink?
All in a chicken effort, don't you think, Chuck?
Like you say, Minko, isn't he up?
There you go, Mink.
NBA playoff basketball. Allen Iverson drops in 33 as the Sixers eliminate the Pacers 88-85. Iverson overcome with emotion.
It's special, man.
Yeah, Pacers led 85-82, but the Sixers rally in the final 2 minutes to come away with the victory of that game.
I just kind of like him, Allen Iverson. He really is he's a moron.
Please.
Who tipped me after that first? You, Lou?
Yeah, well, I told you about it.
He really is just. I mean, get over yourself. And he's one of those nitwits.
Not a team guy.
Who's I said my teammates urged me to keep shooting and say, I said Allen Iverson gonna get it done in the crowd. They pumped me up and got Allen Iverson in.
That's right.
Shut up.
They were saying,
Shut up.
Give
Go
Allen-
get a bunch of more tattoos, you moron. God almighty, what a nitwit.
telling Allen Iverson to have Allen Iverson take the shot like Allen Iverson often does.
Jesus, I mean, do they realize how absolutely stupid they sound?
Next thing he'll be calling himself the I-Man.
I mean, it's just, it's absurd.
Won't he, Chuck?
Oh, well, I mean, I just can't. I mean, thinks that is really just idiotic. Don't you think so, Chuck?
God,
I'm really sick of these black people, aren't you, Chuck?
That's just look.
Mako continues.
Like you say, Chuck.
There will be a Game 5 between the Knicks and Raptors. Vince Carter hits for 28. Toronto topping the Knicks 193. Knicks coach Jeff Van Gundy has the quick explanation.
They were more aggressive. We got whipped.
As simple as that. Marcus Camby just 4 points and 4 rebounds.
Did you see that big gorilla dunk that Carter put on him there?
He had a couple of them.
Yeah.
You know, one in the open floor, 2-hand slam.
He's a jerk.
He played well last night, though. You know, he was very, very aggressive, and, you know,
they're
going down.
They are going down big time.
And Game 5 will be tomorrow night.
I'm actually praying the Knicks beat them.
Oh, here, really?
Yeah.
This is a divine intervention thing?
Really changed your
These
tune.
are
What
rare.
has happened in the last
I'm
hour?
not a Knicks fan, but I also don't root against the Knicks in this particular instance. But
And all the old thugs from the Knicks are on the Raptors team.
I hate the Raptors. I mean, I hate them. I want the Knicks to win this. So.
Yeah, we'll see if that comes
Go,
true.
New York, go, New York, go.
I don't want to go that far, but
It gives me an idea for another tune.
Vince Carter. So, you had a chance to hear Sid Rosenthal? What's his name?
Rosenstein.
Whatever. Yes, I did. Matter of fact, the training that he had here, I helped him train on the computer and gave him some tidbits and things that he could do here on the program.
How do you think he's doing?
I guess he's doing fine. But, you know, my evaluation doesn't, really count.
Is that what you said?
That counts if I ask you, doesn't it, Chuck? Don't you agree?
I couldn't agree more, man.
That
If I ask you,
he's doing fine.
Well, here was our question. My first question was,
yes,
they fired the guy over at NEW.
Yeah.
And admittedly, now the whole radio stations, including Opie and Anthony, suck.
Oh, they're
It's a white trash fiasco.
They're going in the toilet, too.
Just white trash idiot radio.
You saw the ratings.
Look at the nipples on that one.
I mean, they took a dive.
Oh, she's got brown on her thong. What is that? Ooh.
I don't think we're in a position, Chuck, to be disparaging people's ratings.
We are, as long as it's those guys.
Anyway.
We revel in agony.
Don't you think?
People got hip to Opie and Anthony. What the hype there?
Apparently so.
Two just gutless weasels. I mean, they're probably nice kids, but I mean, absolutely no guts. Just laughable. And that whole Howard Stern thing, I mean, that was laughable, wasn't it, Bernie?
Oh, clearly. Do they hold hands when they do the broadcasting?
And then
Siegfried and Roy of radio.
And then we asked them to appear in the program, and they had to get permission from their manager?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I mean, that's when we knew that
was
just...
sad.
A couple of pussies.
That's what the deal is. I mean, that doesn't mean they aren't funny or they aren't any good. They are, but they're just...
into that kind of thing.
God, that is really weak. I mean, that's...
Talk to my manager.
Well, that is... Don't mention Howard Stern's name. Don't say anything bad about Howard, and they go along with it.
Oh, okay, we won't anymore.
Well, you that's the time you tell the management to stick it.
I'm sorry, we didn't know we were offending somebody.
Anyway.
Come on, you guys.
Hey, lady, do you shave your bush?
No, I mean, I know.
Yeah, that's all.
Stupid. Anyway. So Rosenberg's on the morning show, and he gets blown out of that, and that was dreadful, I'm told. And
well, that was woof.
so and then they played a tape of Rosenberg. I mean, we have a portion of that tape here.
Hey, we got Bobby on the New Jersey Turnpike. Bobby, what are Giants going to do this weekend? Big Blue, baby! I got a case of butt. I'm headed to the Metalhead, baby!
So
there we go.
That's essentially was Sid Rosenberg's. So I thought, well, we'll bring him in. Now, it turns out he's a very likable kid.
Oh, absolutely.
So, and there's been... In my career, there's been 100 people that got their start on this program, so he could be 101, but you got to be able to produce, and so far, I think I agree with you. He sucks.
I didn't say that.
Didn't he say that, Charles?
I
we had a sign that said Sid sucks.
No, that's just the T-shirts I was selling.
Just selling T-shirts, Sid Sucks T-shirts?
He's got him in his trunk.
Unbelievable.
Wait a minute.
On the internet.
Hey, by the way, for Father's Day, we're getting the Lion Weasel Fat Loser T-shirts ready.
T-shirts?
Yeah, to go with your Fat
man.
Loser Lion Weasel Bald-Headed Geek hats.
Those are fine
That's too
hats.
good.
Think ain't better than this, does it?
That doesn't get any better than that, actually. God almighty.
What better for Father's Day than a Lion Weasel Fat Loser T-shirt and a Lion Weasel Fat Loser Bald-Headed Geek baseball cap? Not cheap caps either.
No.
I like the Imus
And
hats.
if you know a Lion Weasel who is also a bald-headed geek, you can now cover both.
Yeah, buy two hats.
Here you go, Mom.
We'll probably have some kind of...
I love you. This is beautiful.
For you, happy Father's Day, you bald-headed geek.
Yeah, bald-headed geek hat and a Lion
Fat
Weasel
loser.
T-shirt.
Fat loser.
You're the best, Pop.
What's better than a bald-headed geek hat and a Lion Weasel T-shirt?
There you go. Cover everything.
Or a bald-headed geek Fat Loser T-shirt.
Perfect.
Here you are, Dad.
Yeah, in a 40-ounce.
Son of a bitch, never took me to see the Yankees. Here, wear this.
You bald-headed
You
geek.
fat bastard sitting on the couch drinking beer.
You drunken old jackass.
You drunken old fool. You're lucky I'm lucky I don't have a brother and we're in there with a couple of shotguns.
Thanks for visiting me in prison. Here you go.
Yeah, there you go. Happy Father's Day, you son of a bitch. Oh, man.
Thanks for having sex with sis. Screwing me all up.
Lending success story from Lending Tree. I knew finding the right...
I got excited when President-elect Bush proposed Paul O'Neill for Secretary of the Treasury. Seeing as how he's kind of confused in the first place, I assumed his choice was the New York Yankee right fielder. But of course, it's merely Alan Greenspan's friend, the aluminum foil guy. I suppose I should have known better. There won't be any surprises coming from a man who's invariably surprised as the door magically opens when he steps on the mat in front of the A&P. With a few exceptions, W's cabinet nominations are an outrage. Some of the nominees do make sense. Colin Powell and Condoleezza Rice are probably at the head of that list, although I can't help but think that their nominations are tainted slightly by tokenism. I mean, these two are about as black as Johnny Winter. Mel Martinez isn't such a bad choice for housing and urban development, seeing as how Cubans are so adept at fitting 35 people into a one-bedroom apartment. No. And Ann Veneman for agriculture? Well, one look at that woman, you immediately think, now there's something that certainly belongs on a farm. But for the most part, the Bush cabinet should be known as the Bush League, a ragtag group of political hacks that couldn't be vetted for membership in any self-respecting country club, let alone the highest offices of the United States. John Ashcroft as Attorney General? Hey, why not just pick David Duke? In England, the barristers wear white wigs on their heads. With Ashcroft as the country's highest lawyer, I wouldn't be surprised if counsel in America's courts take to wearing white sheets on theirs. He may have been responsible for Martin Luther King Day, but I suspect it had less to do with commemorating Dr. King than it had to do with getting another day off of work. And speaking of work, Linda Chavez. Well, let's just say that when it comes to labor issues, she ain't exactly Cesar Chavez. You ask me, there's something funny about a woman named Chavez who can speak Hebrew but don't know a word of Spanish. The girl must have something on the ball, because somehow back in the Reagan days, she managed to work for Pat Buchanan even though she was married to a Jewish man. Although disappointing, it is not surprising. Could one have expected anything different from a man who thinks that the Libya situation refers to a certain part of the female anatomy? Oh, and asked how many inaugural balls he planned to have, could very easily reply, he'll just go with the two he started out with.
There's a lot of nice pundits and other kind of pundits. Anyway, they said, you know, this issue doesn't seem to resonate with the people. And I said, you know something? whether it resonates or not. Doesn't matter to me.
Once upon a time, you dressed so fine, threw the bumps of dime in your prime. Then people call, say, beware, doll, you're bound to fall. You thought they were all kidding you. You used to laugh about everybody that was hanging out. Now you don't talk so loud. Now you don't seem so proud about having to be scrounging your next meal. How does it feel? How does it feel to be without a home? Like a complete unknown. Like Imus in the morning.
All right, get ready, because General George S. Patton Jr.
At ease, as you were. All right, people, time for an assessment. Two superpowers marshaling their forces for a showdown. The longer this drags on, the clearer it becomes that there simply is not room on the world stage for two leading players. Somebody's going down, boys, and it's not going to be pretty. I know that all of you here are as absorbed by this unfolding nightmare scenario as I am, correct? Yes, Private.
If I may, sir, you're absolutely correct. This affects us all because any crisis between nuclear powers holds ominous implications not only for our national security, but for the survival of civilized societies everywhere, sir. And as America and China push closer to the brink...
At ease. America and China.
Yes, sir. They've got to let our people go and resolve this thing before
I am not talking about America and China.
You're not?
Hell no. That's nothing. I am talking about Lou Dobbs and Ron Insana.
Oh, Jesus.
Now there, boys, is a war.
Ass-kicking shaping up, sir.
Let me put one of the principles up on the screen here for you and our viewers at home. As I briefly review the current battle status. All right, Private. Can you identify the individuals seen in this recent newspaper photograph?
Sir, the private might be able to make an identification if the general could reduce the projected image somewhat. No disrespect, sir, but you've blown it up too much.
An understandable mistake, but I have blown it up none at all, Private. This is Lou Dobbs, former anchor of CNN's premier business news program, Moneyline.
That ain't blown up?
Actual size, Private.
Jesus, what's he doing? Smuggling soccer balls in his cheeks? No wonder he started that space.com deal. He's got stuff orbiting him.
All right, at ease. Anyway, Mr. Dobbs here, if he can still walk unassisted, is stiffing an arrangement he'd made with NBC and going back to the anchor chair at Moneyline. Now that Ted Turner's had his ass handed to him, and Rick Kaplan, Dobbs' nemesis, who once headed CNN's domestic news division, was last seen in downtown Atlanta collecting cans in a shopping cart. You may recall that Dobbs' 1999 departure from Moneyline, under duress, did to the program about what the USS Greenville did to that Jap fishing trawler.
Hard on the bottom, 2,000 feet of water, sir.
And concomitantly permitted Ron Insana's Business Center program on CNBC to basically win by default.
Used Sue Herrera as a flotation device, sir.
But now that Dobbs is going back to Moneyline...
Insana's sucking wind, flopping around like a grouper on a griddle, begging for mercy, sweating bullets, and whimpering like a club seal, sir.
Oh, very true, Private. But Insana, nevertheless, is our mercy-begging, bullet-sweating, whimpering griddle flopper. And it's our duty, like it or not, to go into the foxhole for him, right?
We'll bail his butt out, sir.
Excuse me, did you say something, Private?
We'll prop him up, sir, keep him from balling and all of that.
Do you have any cash in that bag you're swinging, Private? Sound off like you were a master of the universe, maggot.
Sir, we solemnly swear we'll tune in, uphold, preserve, protect, and defend Insana's Business Center instead of Dobbs' Moneyline, so's Ron don't kill himself, sir.
Very well, that's more like it. Let's dismiss then with this old combat maxim, boys. War is hell, but television's worse. We're sticking with Insana to keep his car service from becoming a hearse. Thank you for your attention, people. That is all.
It became an obsession with me until I realized that there was nothing within him, neither conscience nor reason, that wasn't even remotely human.
I am talking about
Imus in the morning.
Now, what's the best thing about visiting Mohegan Sun? This guy who came up with this creep in an apartment, sleeping on a mattress surrounded by empty food cartons, with half full of sushi and cigarette butts, and old stale donuts in North Hollywood, California, with a website. And he's the guy that came up with a mess on the dress.
Exactly.
And so, and it turned out everybody thought he was crazy. And it turns out he was right. There was a mess on the dress. And the girl didn't send it to the dry cleaners, and the president nearly got it. He did get impeached. So now we have this big story about CBS offered Tim Russert a job because Dan Rather apparently is getting ready to pack it in. We're going to talk to him in a second. They offered Tim Russert a job. Well, it turns out none of that's true.
Right.
Then they did a poll on the Internet about who people would, and a couple 100,000 people already responded, who they'd like to have do the news on CBS. Well, it turns out they'd like to have Rather do it.
That's exactly right.
And if Rather's not going to do it, then they say, well, shut it down.
Yep.
So anyway, here to discuss all this is the managing editor and the anchor of the CBS Evening News.
America's anchor man.
Yeah, Dan Rather. Good morning, Mr. Rather.
Hey, good morning, man. Good morning, Charles. Good morning, Bernard.
Now, let me ask you the question first. Have you been listening to the radio for the past 15 minutes or so, or television?
Oh, listen, I always watch you in the morning, beginning when you first come on.
That's not good, then.
That's unfortunate. No, I've been listening for about the last hour. Love the Oak Ridge boys.
Aren't they great?
Oh, man, to come in and, you said it, come in early in the morning, just have one track playing, and God, were they terrific.
And first of all, they had one set of headphones, and I happen to have a little monitor here that they could barely hear out of, but...
Can you believe that?
No.
And I love the... given the current circumstances of things, I love the song Angel Watching Over Me Night and Day.
Well, so what is the deal?
Well, here's the deal. And one reason I wanted to talk to you this morning, man, is I'm going to give this to you exclusively for you and you alone today and today only.
Yeah.
Here's the deal.
All right.
In 5 years, I'm stepping out because I'm going to have to. CBS is contracted already with the successor. I won't say replacement. The successor will be Mike Wallace. It's written into his contract. In 5 years, he gets to come to the evening news. It's the only thing in television news he hasn't done. It's written in his contract. There's not a damn thing I can do about it. I'm not all that happy about it, but there you are.
What are you going to do? Well, it can be fun to pick the paper up and see all this stuff, though, can it? Or...
Well, it's not fun, but as you said, listen, these are the big leagues, and I think I'm a big boy, and in some markets we do pretty well. In other markets, they beat us like a rented mule, but that's the way it goes. I was very interested to hear about this thing the other day. I don't know Matt Drudge, don't have anything for or against him, don't know much about him. I have a vague recollection that he appeared once on Tim Russert's Sunday morning program ages ago, but I'm not even sure about that. But when you read something like this, you sort of scratch your head and say, well, where's that coming from? And, reporters being reporters, you say, well, who comes out of it looking good and who comes out of it looking not so good? And I think it pretty well speaks for itself. But I think there's a story here somewhere. I've told you what I know about what's going to happen at CBS. My friend Mike Wallace comes in. I'm not all that happy about it because I think I could do this for another 10, 15 years. But Mike's got it written right into his contract, so what can I say?
There's nothing you can do.
But, you have some pretty good investigative reporters around there. Charles knows what he's doing. Deidre, what a good job she did on